Hi everybody, here's the video that's going to cover some important things for the mid-year exam. Probably 6 to 8 problems actually that cover are related to this topic, which is 2-4 in your book, writing linear equations. And so our goal, obviously, is to write equations. We're going to write them out, so your answer, we're going to want in slope-intercept form. That will look y equals mx plus b. And so that there will be, whatever the slope is will be your m, whatever your y-intercept is will be your b. So an example of what your answer should look like when you're writing out an equation is y equals negative 3x plus 7, where slope is negative 3, y-intercept is 7. Okay? So, what are some examples? When given a point, 6, negative 2, what's the equation of a line that goes through this point and has a slope of negative 4? We want it to look like this. So our answer down below, I already know a lot of the answer. Y equals negative 4x. And the reason I know that is because the slope is negative 4. What don't we know? We don't know the y-intercept. We don't know the b. But we know everything else. We know the slope, we know the x, and we know a y coordinate. So y, x, and m. So substitute those in. So what you're going to do is say y equals mx plus b with the only variable we're missing, the b. It's like the chemistry situation. I keep bringing up a formula where you know everything but the one thing you need to find. Okay? So now just solve it. Add 24 to both sides. You'll get positive 22 equals b. Okay, so if 22 is b and this is negative 4, there is your answer. The equation of a line that passes through this point and has a slope of negative 4 is y equals negative 4x plus 22. Okay? So what we need to be able to know is the slope and the y-intercept. So the next one is going to be similar, and it is write the equation of a line that passes through these 2 points. If you had graph paper and you really wanted to do it, you could say, oh, negative 2, 7, 3, negative 3, over 3, down 3. And you could try to do the slow rise and run and figure out where it crosses the y-intercept. What I just did is sometimes helpful, though, to your answer. Because look at what 2 things I can figure out from this little diagram. Quick graph, I call it. It's a downhill slope, so it's a negative slope. So this slope is going to be negative. And it crosses the y-axis maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around there. Something kind of low, it crosses the y-axis. So we're going to have y equals negative something x plus a positive number right there from my quick graph. So let's figure it out. We need to know the slope, and we need to know the y-intercept. Well, how do we figure out slope? Change in y over change in x. We just did this. You could do 7 minus negative 3 all over negative 2 minus 3, right? Whatever way you figured out slope from 2 points, do that. 10 over negative 5. So our slope is negative 2. Just figured that out. So our answer to this problem is going to be y equals negative 2x plus or minus something else. And that fits in with our quick graph. It's a negative slope. Now let's talk about the intercept. And we do the same thing we did before. Pick a point, you guys. You can use this point or you can use this point for your x, y. I'll just use this one, it doesn't matter. Y equals m, negative 2, I figured out the slope, times x, negative 2, plus b. And we can solve for b. 7 equals positive 4 plus b. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Take away 4, 3 equals b. So b equals 3. And there, my friends, we just wrote an equation of a line that passes through those 2 points because we figured out the slope and the intercept. And it's just like the quick graph, right? Seemed to fit right in on that. So, that covers those 2 types. Now, we've got 2 other topics that we need to cover. One is parallel lines. What's a line parallel to y equals 3x plus 7? What's a line parallel to that? If you remember from Algebra 1, that parallel lines have the same slope. There's our coordinate plane. There are 2 lines that are parallel. The rise and the run are the same. So it's the same slope. So what's a line parallel? Y equals 3x plus 1. Y equals 3x minus 17. The intercept, it doesn't matter. It can be anywhere, as long as it's the same slope. So that's parallel lines. Lastly, and this one's a little bit more complicated, is perpendicular. Perpendicular lines form the right angles. So there's our line. A perpendicular line would go so that we have right angles between them. So y equals 3x plus 7. What's a line perpendicular to that? Well, we don't care about the y-intercept right now. We care about the slope. And the slope, if one is positive, one is negative, right? They're going to be going opposite ways. So here's the rule you have to remember. It's going to be the opposite, the negative, or the opposite. So if this is 3x, the slope of a perpendicular line is going to be negative. If I gave you a negative slope, negative 5x, then the other slope is going to be positive. It's the opposite sign. And reciprocal. What's the reciprocal of 3? 1/3. So a line perpendicular to 3 is 1/3. These are the 2 important rules. Change the sign, flip it. Okay? We'll talk more about that in class 2.